Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Today what we're going to do is take a look at my setup for quarter 3 in my budget planner and for the month of July. So we are just going to kind of walk through how I prep my planner for quarter 3 and look at what I've already set up for July. Before getting into this, let me just go ahead and say my budget video is late for this week. I usually release my budget videos on Tuesdays, and I think this one is probably going to release Saturday. Saturday of the week, so July 5th, if I'm right in what I'm estimating when I'll post this. But it is late because I had to just stop and pause and say, I need to really focus on working on my budget just by myself. Um, because I was getting ready to film it and I was gonna, film my weekly, my July setup and put it out there. And I realized I just needed to stop. It was, managing my budget was getting away from me. Managing my planner setups were getting away from me. And I just needed to actually work in my planner, which is what my planners are all about. I love doing the videos, but for me, these planners are not just about videos. I actually use these. These are my actual budget plans for my life. And so I was getting behind on that and I needed to stop and get that done. And so that's why this video is late and I'm very glad that I took the time to do it. So we are going to start at the beginning of my planner because I had to set this planner up for the new quarter. This is quarter 3. And so I want to walk you through how I actually set up my budget planner for the quarter. So in the front of my planner, I have these, like perpetual calendar type pages. I got these out of a random happy planner, older planner, and I'm just repurposing them. But I do know that I have a vacation in July. What I do with these pages is I come in and I mark anything major that I know is coming up. So I know that I have a vacation in July. I don't know any other major events right now for the quarter. So I'm not going to put anything down. I think I might have some type of event in September. That's my mom's birthday month. And so we might be doing something for her birthday, but I'm not sure yet. So I'm not going to put that in there yet. So that's one thing that I like to make sure I have filled out. Then we get into the planner page, the budget planner pages that I use in my budget inserts. And these are part of my normal budget inserts. I do a year at a glance, so very similar to what I just did on the perpetual. So I'm going to go ahead and put my July vacation. And I think I'm going to put my mom's birthday. I don't know what we're doing yet for that. So this page is great because I can put down an estimated plan without having to know the details. I don't have to know the dates or anything like that. But it may be something that impacts my life financially, so I can go ahead and put that down. And that is pretty much all that I know that's happening right now for quarter 3. So I make sure that my year at a glance is filled out. My self-reflection, I do that at the beginning of the year. That doesn't change. Then we get into my annual financial goals. I love this page because it allows me to set my long-term goals. That really hasn't changed. I'm not doing great on those, but it hasn't changed. And then we get into our quarterly financial goals. This is for quarter 1, which I probably need to go ahead and label these. Or, yeah, I think I only did it for quarter 2, actually. Let me see. Or did I take quarter 2 out? Well, this was quarter 2. I think I took out quarter 1 and I saved it. Okay. So going into quarter three, I have that labeled already. And what I did in preparation for quarter three, which I did this in the beginning of this week, so the beginning of July, I came in and thought about what I needed to work on for this quarter and what kind of changes or improvements I needed to make to my budget. And I have a lot. I have a lot. For me, I really do need to revise my payment process, review all my payment accounts. Still have a few stray bills coming out of some random accounts like subscriptions and stuff like that. I need to get that under control. And that doesn't seem like a big thing, you guys, but it's one of those little things that can just annoy you. You know what I mean? And or at least it annoys me. And so I need to get that under control. It's been driving me crazy all of June. um, but some of the bigger goals that I have for the quarter is I want to increase my long-term savings, and I have some news. I am looking for a second job. And so I'm kind of excited about that. I used to have two jobs for about 3 years. Actually, I had two jobs, and then earlier this year, the one of my smaller part-time jobs. I have a full job and a part. I used to have a full-time job and a part-time job, and now I just have my full-time. And so my part-time job ended. They laid off a whole bunch of people, and unfortunately, I was one of those people. And I said I was going to kind of take the second quarter and not worry about it, which I did, and that was really nice and great. But I do need to get another job for quarter three and beyond. So that's going to be a big activity for me. I'm actually a little bit excited about it, and I have a whole like career book and everything that I'm going to be career book, a planner dedicated to my search. So I'm excited about that. And then I also need to change some of my due dates to a different day in the month to kind of help my bills flow a little bit better throughout the month. So that's one thing I need to do within the first 2 months of the quarter. And then by the third month in the quarter, I hope to have some credit card balances paid down. They're a little bit higher than I want them to be. And so that is going to be, one of my big financial goals. And then I just put actions. This is not completely filled out, but these are things that I want to do to make those goals happen. So, for example, in July, I need to research some gigs, part-time jobs, basically. And then hopefully by August, I will be starting a part-time job. So I'm super excited about that. So that's how I fill out my goal sheet. What I want to really say about this, you guys, is when you're working on your budget and you're planning for your budget, in whatever time frame you plan, I plan quarterly. Take some time, sit down, reflect on what you want to accomplish, and write it down. Make a plan for it. That's the best advice I can give you. And if you need to adjust that plan, don't hesitate to adjust it. And that's, I was saying how I was going to film this video last weekend, the last weekend of June. And I just stopped because I hadn't done any of this. And I wasn't just going to film something and just throw it out there and put some numbers on paper and not have thought about it. And so I knew that I had to stop, think about what I wanted to do for the quarter, write it down, and then do my July budget so that I could make sure that I was in alignment with my goals. And so I just encourage everybody to make sure you're reflecting as you are doing your goals and you're doing your budgets and all that good stuff. Okay, so this would be my goal worksheet if I needed to break down a specific goal. I don't have one yet. My annual financial snapshot does not change. My quarterly budget, the quarterly budget, I do these each quarter, and I go through my budget and I but I write down my estimated income for that month, and I do it for the entire quarter. And this is just kind of like a really big picture. I often don't come back and do actual because it doesn't necessarily benefit me. You can if you want, but I just like to see an overall snapshot of what to expect for the quarter. And that's where I kind of prep for the quarter. And so I went ahead and got that filled out. I have my quarter four ready to go. Now, in my financial snapshot, this is where I come in and do my summary from looking at all my categories and how much income I actually had and how much I spent and all of that good stuff. It's like a monthly closeout. And you see, I still have to do that for June. And again, that's kind of like what I was talking about. I realized, hey, I need to get this stuff caught up. Now, I'm not so behind on June because June just ended. But still, it needs to get done. And so, but this is where I keep my snapshots. Then I get into my bills and subscriptions. This is just where I come in and I list the actual bills that I pay monthly and the amounts. And I have it separated from personal. I have it separated between personal and business. And that's just when I sit down and I basically list all my bills. I reference this a lot throughout the month. This is just the notes page. It's really where I have a sample monthly budget. This is every bill I pay during the month, and I just use this for reference as well. Now, it changes from month to month, so this is not something I do every month. This is just like a sample. It actually helps me fill out that quarterly sheet more than anything else, because that quarterly sheet is basically what the bills should be, what the income should be. When I do my monthly budget, that could be different. The reality could be different. So that's just what it is. I have a couple of blank bills and subscription sheets. I probably don't need 2 blank bills and subscription sheets. I usually fill out a new one every quarter, but my bills really didn't change from quarter 2 to quarter 3, so I probably won't fill out a new one this quarter. But that's why I have a few extra in here. And then I have my category worksheets. Nothing that I really had to do for quarter 3. My categories didn't change. My category tracker. See how behind I am? Now, I have this data, of course. It's on another page, but I just haven't transferred it to my annual sheet. So that's just like forcing myself to sit down and do that. But I have to put it in for May and for June. So I can't keep skipping that step. And that's a part of my monthly closeout. And again, that's what I was talking about when I was saying I felt so behind going into July, going into quarter 3, that I just need to kind of stop and get stuff together. So I got all the major stuff together, thankfully. But I still need to update that sheet along with my snapshot. Those 2 pages kind of go together, so that's why they both need to be updated. My sinking and challenge worksheet is where I keep track of my proposed sinking challenges. And I've done some of these, but definitely not all of these. So, yeah, we'll see. Then my sinking and challenge envelopes is when I actually start a challenge. And when I finish it, I will come in and check something off. And I really have not finished much in quarter 3. Or quarter 2. It was a pretty tough quarter. And I didn't get a chance to really work through some of my sinking and challenge envelopes. So my savings is just where I track any, this is like tracking my savings account. And that is an account that keeps all of my funds that go in my sinking and challenge envelopes, because I do digital envelopes. So I don't have actual envelopes. So if you think about how this works together, these would be envelopes individually, right? It has the name of the fund plus the goal. So this is kind of like having an envelope. And then when I put money into that envelope, I need to track those funds. So I use this to track those funds. So this is just one account, but I put the description, which is the name of the sinking fund envelope, in here so that I know how much money goes into each envelope. Right now, the balance is 0. I have been using this throughout the year because I have been saving money for some of those travel funds, and you know, then I use the funds and then the money comes out and it goes to 0. That's how it's supposed to work. If I'm saving for a trip, when I go on the trip, it goes to 0. Just like if you had a regular envelope, if you had money in your envelope for an upcoming trip, then you go on the trip, you spend all the money in your envelope, it goes to zero, or whatever the case may be. But since I do it digitally, I need to keep track of that money that's in the account. I just have a few tracker sheets, a few challenges. And I'll just show you an example of a challenge sheet. This is an annual challenge sheet. I'm trying to build up a second emergency fund, actually, and I haven't been able to put any money in there so far. Very disappointed in that. But this corresponds to one of my challenge envelopes, right? So if I go back to that sheet, I should have something in here, hopefully, that says emergency fund, right? So I have emergency fund. My goal amount is $2,500. The due date is December 2025. So I started an emergency fund tracker. This is the visual representation. This is just fun. This is the fun piece of it. You come in and you color an envelope when you have made certain amount of progress. And so that's what determines what trackers go into my planners. Which funds have I already started? Technically, I started this in January and I haven't saved anything, but that's how it is. That's life. Same thing for my annual savings. This is the visual. And then I just have some notes, checklist pages in the back. So for the quarter, I just make sure all of that stuff is up to date and ready to go for the quarter. And it is. Other than those 2 pages that I still have to work on. But that's how I set up my annual section for my quarter. I will say, out of my budget planner inserts, my budget planner insert pack that it will be linked down below, it's pretty big. It has a ton of pages in it. I can't print all those pages at once because it would make my planner like this thick. So these challenge pages, I think I probably have like 50 different challenge pages or something in that insert pack. It's a lot. I only take out the ones that are relevant for that time period or something I've already started. So for example, I have a lot of Christmas savings challenges, not a lot, but Christmas savings challenges. I'll probably put those in here sometime in quarter 3, in the middle of quarter 3, probably going into quarter 4. I have a few birthday savings challenges. I haven't had to use those, but you know, pages like that I don't just keep in my planner and I never use them. I go back to the insert and I print that particular page when I want to insert it. Okay, so let's look at July. Once I did that to help me prepare for the quarter, I was able to come in and work on my July budget because I knew what my quarter goals were. I knew how they aligned to my annual goals. I kind of had a quick snapshot of my financial picture for the quarter so I could move into my budget. This is my monthly. I do decorate my monthly in my budget planner. I love this. It looks great for the month of July. It's obviously celebrating Independence Day. And I believe I used hell of a plan. I want to say like summer florals or summer chic or something like that, to do this layout. And yeah, I just kind of stayed with that theme. What I do in my budget monthly, I pretty much just list my bill pay dates. I use my bill pay stickers and I come in here and I put them throughout. I am not technically a monthly planner. I like to decorate my monthlies, but I don't really reference my monthlies that much. I probably use my monthlies more in my bill planner, my budget planner, than anything else. So that's how I have set this up. Nothing special here. I have indicated my vacation periods with this blue line, just a blue highlighter. I've indicated my transfer day. That's when I transfer funds between my personal accounts and my business accounts to make sure my business expenses are paid. Other than that, it's just regular payment dates that's listed. And I have a few quotes in here to kind of motivate me throughout the month. So on the next page is where I do my monthly goals. So this is where I come in and I use the monthly dashboard. This is from a Happy Planner Work Plus Life layout. You can also get a similar monthly dashboard in their productivity layout, but that layout can be hard to find sometimes. So I like this Work Plus Life monthly dashboard. And I just come in and I write down the goals I'm focused on for that month and any key action items I need to do. I actually use this for this top section on this side of the dashboard. I use it for major purchases or things that I really don't need to forget, such as I need to cancel some of my hotels that I have booked for my vacation where I'm staying somewhere else. I've changed my hotel, so I need to cancel the older reservations. And then I also need to buy some vacation essentials. Um, I need to focus on my travel budget and my 6-month financial plan. So planning throughout the rest of the year. And then important dates for me, my vacation starts July 25th. And I have just some to-do lists here, things that I need to do for this month. My major goals for my month of July include updating my bill pay accounts. You actually saw me list that on my quarterly goals as a quarterly action. So that's what I'm going to work on for the month of July, and also create a 6-month plan. So starting my planning for the rest of the year, I want to list my goals out. I want to list my monthly tasks out. This way, when the next quarter comes, hopefully I don't feel as behind as I did in this quarter. So I'm just trying to get a little bit prepared and being a little bit more intentional, which is my word of the year, about what I'm doing with my budget. It is so easy, you guys, when you're filming videos, just to get in a routine. I typically film my budget videos. My weekly budget videos are usually filmed Saturday or Sunday. And then I follow the budget throughout the week. I'm pretty good about following the budget, but you do still need time to sit and think and reflect before just running. And it's so easy to get in the habit of just running when you're filming videos, because you just want to get the video out. And I have to be careful not to do that. But anyway, that's just a little soapbox for me. So that is my monthly goal for July. I felt so much more calm after I sat down and did this. Now we're back to my inserts that I use for my budget. I did my monthly budget. I'm very happy about this monthly budget. I need to come in really quick and update some of these dates because I had the wrong date on here. I actually didn't work on this budget. I didn't work on the budget at my office desk. I worked on it away from my office. So when I was working on it, I didn't. Great. So when I was working on it, I didn't have my whiteout. So I made several errors and I'm trying to fix these now. But yeah, this is my monthly. I use this just as an overview of everything I'm expecting to pay, all of my income. Okay, so that is done. Then I go into my cash flow pages. This is a paycheck cash flow. This is a sheet. I've mentioned this several times that I'm currently testing to include in my 2026 budget, which will be rolling out the beginning of quarter 4. So in October, I'm super excited about that. But this is a sheet that I will probably include in that version because I have really enjoyed it. I currently get paid twice per month, and so I take my monthly and I break it up into 2 periods in the month because that's when I get paid. And so this is like a paycheck cash flow. And this is really helpful for me to see the flow of my money. I have, again, some errors that I made because I was not working on this in my office. I was working on this somewhere else, and I did not have my whiteout. So I have a few errors that need to be fixed. Nothing major. I just used the column next to it to write down the correct figures. And I knew I would come back and update it when I film this video. Okay. So I think I'm going to leave that one because I need to double check and make sure that those are the right figures. I don't want to do white out 2 times, but that is my paycheck cash flow. And so I'm super excited about using this sheet. I've really enjoyed it. At one point, I thought it would take the place of the monthly cash flow. So I was kind of comparing it between that, the paycheck cash flow, and the monthly cash flow. But after using it for a couple of months, I realized that it actually works well together for me and the way I do my budget. I still get benefit out of the monthly cash flow, which is broken down by week, because that's just the way my brain works. And it may not work that way for everybody, but for me, that's the way my brain works. So I further break down my budget into weeks and what income is coming in for that week. And that's why it's a cash flow, and what is expected to go out for that week. And it's helpful to me because I'm getting paid twice per month. So every 2 weeks, actually, I'm getting paid bi-weekly. And that doesn't mean my bill due dates have changed, right? Just because I get paid bi-weekly, I have bills due every week. And so I need to know what is coming out of my accounts during that week. That's why this is helpful to me. If this level of detail may not be helpful for everybody, but it will be included. This is included in the current insert package, but I will include all of these sheets, the paycheck sheet, the paycheck cash flow, and the monthly cash flow in the 2026 version. The 2025 version just has the monthly cash flow. But this has been very beneficial. I knew it would be. That's why it's in the 2025 planner. I just thought, you know, with the paycheck cash flow, I may not need this, but I still really, really enjoy this. And I do all of this at the beginning of the month. Every month at the beginning of the month, this is how I break down my budget, so that when I get to my weeklies, and I put my budget in my weekly, and I can list what needs to come out for that particular week, because we track our expenses weekly, right? So it never made sense to me on most budget calendars or most budget planners. You had only a monthly budget and there was no other worksheets to help you plan what was coming out weekly, and then you jump to your weekly expenses. Well, then, like, what are you, in my mind, what are you kind of really tracking if you don't have a weekly cash flow somewhere? So anyway, it made sense to me, and it has worked out well for me. But I set up my budget for this week, and yeah, it's pretty limited because I'm saving a lot for my trip. But these are my categories, and these represent everything that needs to come out. I generally do a little mini meal plan, and then I track my expenses. So that is pretty much set up for July. I do want to point out that I did come in finally and do my travel budget for my trip in July. To be honest with you, this particular budget is the budget that was like really holding me up. I had not made a final decision about what hotels I was going to stay in, or even my activities, the cities I was going to visit for my vacation. I just knew I was going like to the Tampa area. I didn't know okay, what beach area was I going to go to? Am I going to go to Orlando? Am I going to go to St. Augustine? Am I going to go to Miami? I didn't know any of that. I hadn't sat down and planned it. I just knew I was going to be gone for like 8 days. And not having planned that, knowing that was going to be a major expense in July, that is like one of the things that was a huge roadblock for me, because it took me hours to plan out that stuff and make reservations and compare hotels and figure out what was financially feasible. I mean, well, not just hours, weeks, days. And when I got to the point of having to set up my quarter 3 budget and go through my July budget, that really hadn't been finished. And it was a big roadblock, but finally I did it, thankfully. So I have my travel budget in here, super excited about that. I have my savings, my sinking funds tracker for my vacation. This is like a visual kind of too, but this will track all of my vacations, savings, and expenses before I leave. That's really important. When I do my vacation budgets, I include things like travel prep and all of that. And so when I go and buy like sunscreen or a beach bag, it comes out of my vacation fund. So I need some type of tracker that's specific to that vacation fund, and that's what that represents. So I'm super excited about this. This was the linchpin for me getting my July budget together. And that's basically it, other than moving some of my trackers into my July section, because these will just kind of roll over from month to month until I have finished them. That's it for my July budget. I know this video was much longer than my budget videos usually are, but like I said, I didn't want to just rush through it and just film the first week of July and that's it, because that's not what I needed to do. I needed to sit down and really think about my budget for the quarter and be intentional about my July budget. And so I thought I would just wait and then do a longer video and talk through that process. I really hope this was helpful, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching it. I hope you have a great week planning. And if you are on a budget planning journey, just remember, do whatever you need to do to make it work for you. Don't be afraid to adjust your budget if you need to adjust it. And I hope we all have very fruitful quarter 3s and quarter 4s. There's a lot going on in the world. A lot of stuff is changing. The economy is not really what it needs to be. We all know that. And so don't be discouraged. Don't give up. Just keep working at it. Keep planning. Things will work out in the end. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a great week.